What is going on? Welcome on into another video. This video is all about the settings. A lot of people have been asking me a ton of questions on the settings, what they actually mean, and how they can maximize their settings. When you're maximizing your settings, you are maximizing your XP multiplier. What that means is you're going to level up a lot faster. You're going to get more skill points. You're going to get more fittings. You're going to get more rewards. You're just going to be a lot better at this game. So we want to maximize it. We're also going to fit it so that way you can be in a spot where you can be competitive with other people. So as always, all I ask is you like and subscribe. Simply we can pass this around to everyone who wants this information. That's all I ever ask. And yeah, let's dive right into it. First thing I want to cover, if you play TGC, TGC is one of the biggest online societies, but they require you to put your stuff in your HUD and no longer leave it on the aim marker. By stuff, I mean your distance, your elevation. So you can see here the distance info positioning. So how I went to it, I went to settings, I went to display in HUD, I went all the way down to the bottom and I went to distance info positioning and I put it in HUD instead of on the marker. So if we go back, what this is going to do in the top right, you can see I have 180 yards to the pin. That is now in the HUD rather than on the aim marker if I was going to put it on the aim marker. Going on to the next thing. The next thing I want to talk about is the stick, right? So a lot of people have been asking how do they change it? So you go to settings, then you go to control, then you're going to go to swing input, and then you're going to go to swing stick or 3-click. If you want to switch to 3-click, this is how you do it. People who want to switch to the left stick over the right stick. If you want to switch to the left stick, you're going to want to turn right stick aim on. And if you want to go to the left stick, you're going to keep it on the right stick, you're going to want to keep it off. So you can see here I have it off right now and I'm swinging with the right analog stick. So that's how you change that setting. Next up, let's actually talk about the important settings, which is the difficulty settings. This top one here is just going to be you can change things in bulk. Preset settings based off of a difficulty, and you can just change it really quickly. I don't recommend doing this, but that's simply there for you guys if you guys want to essentially just move things quickly, but you want to maximize these settings, so I don't recommend it. I'm going to put everything on legend just so you guys can see what gets added and what doesn't get added. Swing difficulty is your clubs, like how big your swing meters are. So obviously legend is going to be very small. So if I go back here, so in the bottom right corner, you can see that the white bar is very small, very thin, and it's kind of really messed up. So you're going to have a very difficult time with that. But if you come back here and you change your swing difficulty all the way to beginner, we'll say, I'm just going to go in extremes. You're going to have a very big white meter in that bottom right corner. All right, next up is swing timing. So this is your hooks and your fades and your slices and your pulls. So if you're playing with tempo, you want to play with tempo, you want to be a fast or slow, and you're okay with those, then your ball's going to hook, draw if you're fast, fade, slice if you're slow. So you're going to either turn this on if you want to deal with those repercussions for being fast and slow. But if you don't want to deal with tempo at all and you just want to do a distance thing, then you're going to want to turn that off. Distance control meter. A lot of people have asked me about distance control meter because I recommend turning the distance control meter off. This is your swing meter, that new one that arcs around your body, and you can see it right here. I don't really recommend it, but you can arc it around your body, and that's what you can do for that one. Now there's multiple different options. Obviously there's on, which is a completely on. There's a putting only one, which is the putting only. And then there is percentage only, which is going to only display the percentage of your backswing of where you want it, but it's not going to really have the same meter impact that on would do. I recommend putting only if you want to just start adjusting to getting it off, but I highly recommend just turning it off completely. Distance control assist. So this is going to be the back area. So the distance control, you can see this red area behind the white spot will move with it. So that means that you're going to essentially have a wall where you can't go past it. But if you went and you turn this off, which is going to increase your multiplier, you're going to see here that this white section is going to detach from the red section. And what this does is it's going to leave an open opportunity where you no longer and you have to actually figure out what the feel is for the actual swing. All right, next up is putt previews. Pretty self-explanatory whether or not you give yourself putt previews, 3, 9, 18, unlimited, so on and so forth. That's just essentially you hold the button and it will show you exactly the putt you have to hit for the ball to go into the hole, depending on where you're aiming, whether or not this putt where you're aiming is actually going to put it in the hole. So let's talk about next one is course yardages. So this is all about your course yardage book. So right now I have it turned off. And if you don't know this, I'm on PlayStation, so I hit circle and you can pop up your course yardage here. So I have it off right now, so you can't see anything in this area. But if you come back in here and we turn it back on, you're going to be able to see that the course yardage book will give you actual yardages. So now you can see that I'm 180 yards to the pin, but since this wind and everything, you can move this around and it gives you essentially whatever you need for the course yardage book. Next up is the Provision. So Provision is, a lot of people are confused about Provision. Provision is the stuff that's going to give you the visual aids that you need, where you can actually see and get the adjustments for you, right? So Provision wind, right? So you can clearly see that my meter just kicked way to the right. So that means because I'm in a 9-mile-an-hour wind off the left, and you can clearly see I'm aiming straight, but my meter is way over to the right. So what this did is it automatically moved my meter for me to show me where it's supposed to be. So that's something that you really want to pay attention to if you don't want to have to deal with the wind and you just want the wind to be calculated for yourself. You can obviously go in there and do that. Same thing is going to be with the lie penalty. So if you're in a lie penalty, say a 70% lie penalty, it's automatically going to calculate the number for you on how far your ball can travel based on the lie penalty. Next up is lie angle. That will be the same exact thing. These are all going to be very similar. They're essentially giving you the calculations without you having to calculate things. So the lie angle, based off of your lie angle, it'll automatically move the ticker over where your ball will finish if you hit a perfect swing. Elevation, same thing. It will automatically calculate the elevation. Obviously there's no elevation on this hole, but it will automatically calculate the elevation for you based off of your settings. So if the hole is 10 feet up or 9 feet up, that's an extra 3 yards, and you're hitting a 180-yard shot, it will actually move the meter to 183 yards. Provision trajectory. A lot of people want to know about the trajectory because they want to know how to turn the arc on and off. So if you see here, go back to my golfer. You can now see that the blue arrow I have on my player here, the blue line. I can now see the arc, the trajectory, and like if you wanted to combo that with the actual true shot, you can see I'll turn them both on together. All right, so now I got true shot and I have the arc. Now you can see if I move it left and right, I can move it with it. If you don't have true shot on, you're not going to be able to see the left and the right when you move it, or the up and the down. But essentially that's how you can combo those two if you want to turn them on and off. But if you're not going to play with the meter on, then you can save yourself a lot of XP multipliers. Just like see these 0.03 every single time. And you can only do aim only if you wanted to, but it's just the arc. Now Scout Cam UI on is obviously you're able to zoom in. So your Scout Cam is this guy here. This is your Scout Cam. The on will have the circle around the arc of like where you're going to be. And then we'll go back into the settings. That circle for the graphic there will be removed if you turn it to the UI off setting. So you'll just have the aim marker and you will not have the circle around it. So like that's a max, like that's an extra 0.02. You don't really need that circle around it, but you can easily get it there. So that's a good one. And then obviously you can turn it off completely if you don't want it on. Lie grid is going to be under your feet. So that is just the lie grid under your feet. You can hold a button and you can see I have a flat lie under my feet here, but you'll be able to see the slope of everything. And I know this is kind of a lot, but we're almost there. We're almost there. We are almost there. Green grid obviously is pretty straightforward. Pin preference in and out, pretty straightforward. Aim marker. So this is going to be whether the aim marker displays all the elevation and the distance controls. So you can see there now my aim marker says 182 yards next to it. When I had it off, it did not show that. It would show elevation as well, but I do not have any elevation on this hole. It is a flat hole. Next up is the wind display. You can either do the wind speed or you can turn the wind speed off and have it be only the meter. So the thing about the wind display that I want to show you guys is the circle and how full it is. So you can see there's like a dark gray spot and then there's a light gray spot. The more light gray there is in that meter, the more heavy the winds are. So usually about a half full circle with light gray, that is going to be somewhere around 12 to 13 miles an hour. And then the last setting that we're going to talk about here, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video, is the distance display. You can either carry your total distance or your carry distance on whatever you like. I hope this helps out a lot. I'll cover the last thing, and that's just in the top right corner. So let's go through everything in the top right corner. You can see when you have certain things on, there's +5s. So like right now I have a couple of true things on where it'll show me how much my ball is going to roll out. So the +5 means my ball will carry 182 yards and then it's going to roll out an extra 5 yards. So that's what that means in the top right corner when you see those numbers. Also, all of those icons, if you haven't known, are also your skills. When they are dark gray like this, they are not activated. But when they are lit up, they are activated and you are using them. So I hope this video helps you guys out a lot, understand these settings better. Turn off a lot of the settings so that way you can maximize them as much as possible. And I'll catch you guys later. Thanks for watching.